Hey guys, what's going on? This is John with Gamester81.com. In this episode, I want to talk about the NES and collecting for the NES specifically. I'm a big fan of the Nintendo Entertainment System, no doubt. I bought one in '86, pretty much when it first came out, and been a fan of it ever since. I would consider it one of my top favorite systems of all time, but it's not fun to collect for anymore, honestly. My desire and passion to collect and go out and seek for games has been lost, at least temporarily. And what do I mean by that? Well, the games have gone ridiculous out of hand expensive. Um, I was reminded of this fact a couple weeks ago when someone posted a Nintendo World Championship cart, a gray cart, mind you, on eBay. Now, this isn't a very, very rare cart, no doubt, indeed, but I saw that it sold for over $100,000, and I saw that, scratched my head. And keep in mind, this cart had the label torn off. I'd probably give it an F as far as cosmetically what it looked like. It was terrible. You couldn't even see the label; it was torn. And whether it was they were fake bids or trolls, whatever, the fact is, people did bid on it, and people look at that and say, okay, well, people bid on it. And ever since that auction, I noticed a couple other Nintendo World Championship carts have gone up for sale on eBay. I think people are trying to cash in. I don't blame them. I'd do the same thing if I had the cart, especially for $100,000. And by the way, I can think of 100 other things that were more that I would rather have than an NES game. No offense to the NES, love the system. I love gaming, of course, but $100,000, I'd invest that. I'd put it towards my kids' education, whatever, you know. So yeah, that's just one point. Okay, another point is I picked up this issue of Retro Video Game Magazine, and there's an interesting article here talking about collecting for NES games. It's called Kohler's Collectathon: Necessary Evils. It talks about collecting NES games, and more specifically, some of the harder to find games. Well, for example, Little Samson. It came out in 1992 by Taito. It goes for a loose cart up to $500 or more. Cart, box, manual will sell up to $1,100+. That's crazy. I mean, it's a great game, don't get me wrong, but if you go on eBay right now, I just searched on eBay before this video, I found more than 30 copies available, okay? Most of them are buy it now, which you have to be careful with buy it now because that doesn't necessarily indicate the value. Sure, people may buy it now at that price, but I'm curious if a game starts at $10, how much is it going to end in a week as far as the demand? That really gives you the true value. So be careful with buy it now. Another example is Flintstones Surprise at Dinosaur Peak. Obviously, the Game Chasers found this in the wild for really cheap, but 1994 came out by also Taito, and this is one of the later games released for the NES. And you can get a box copy for $1,500 or more. Loose cart, $600. Now, is a Nintendo game worth $600 if it isn't even that uncommon? Because again, you can go on eBay and pick it up. Other examples of stadium events, that's the hardest to find. Retail copy, and those will sell for $3,000 loose, up to $20,000 complete in box. Zombie Nation, Donkey Kong Jr. Math, loose cart, $30, not bad. If you want a complete in box, over $1,000 on average, which that's pretty expensive, $1,000 for an NES game. So I guess my point is, and I want to kind of open the conversation with you guys, and I'd love to hear what you guys have to think about this and say, because it pains me to say this, but my passion for the NES is really dwindling away as far as collecting for it. Now, the gamer in me loves the games, and of the games I own pretty much every game I want to play for the NES anyway. Super Mario Bros. 3 is a must-own. Metroid, for example, the first Final Fantasy. There's a lot of good ones that I own, and I play it, and I enjoy it, and you can still get them for cheap, but even those games are going up in value. And I think a lot of it is obviously the demand. There's a lot of people who grew up on the NES who are nostalgic for the system, and are willing to be completionists. They have to spend bajillions of dollars, right? I mean, a ton of money. So I was curious, guys, what do you guys think about this? I mean, my take on it is kind of like the stock market. I think there's a point where stocks get too high and it's a good time to sell, which in this case, if I had stadium events, I would be selling it. If I had Nintendo World Championship cart, I'd sell it. But it's not a good time to buy right now for gamers. And I have a feeling that eventually the market's going to level out and be more realistic. But right now, it's not a good time to get into collecting NES games. Hopefully, that time will come sooner than later because I would love to buy some of these games. But I'll be honest, I'm not going to pay more than $100 for NES games loose. That's just my personal opinion. So I'm curious what you guys have to feel now. Now, as far as the Super Nintendo, I was kind of following suit. Earthbound is a good example of it. You can go to Earthbound. You can type in Earthbound on eBay and find hundreds of copies of Earthbound. It wasn't a rare game when it came out. Obviously, it's a great game. I'm not taking anything away from that, but people are willing to pay exorbitant amount of prices for Earthbound, which is just out of my budget as far as buying those games. So I want to hear what you guys' thoughts are. Unfortunately, YouTube took away the ability to do video responses, which is a shame. But you guys go on my Facebook page. You can post your videos there. You share it there. I can see that. That'd be great. Put your comments below. Let me know. Be sure to like this video and share it too. And I'm just curious what you guys think about the NES in general. Like I said, I love the NES. Don't get me wrong. But as far as collecting for it, not so much a fan. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you guys soon. Take care.